Good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike. It is Monday, the 25th of September. This is your daily recap and option flow review. It's been quite a day, guys. Everybody, it's Mike. It is Monday, the 25th of September. This is your daily recap and option flow. And I had my volume on, so that was really silly. I wanted to make sure it was actually streaming, though. So, okay. So we're live here. If anybody wants to view, if you're joining in, you could type some questions in, and I'll try to answer them. So, today we opened futures were flattish, low volume, lots of news on North Korea, and the markets use it as an excuse to sell. Okay. Hopefully you guys didn't get caught in it. I made some money on Apple long today, and I'm sitting in some BMY here, but I have out until November that I bought this morning. Almost took it off a couple times, but kind of just going with it right now and staying with it. Welcome if you're joining me. So the SPY here, we're going to take on the first notices. It came down and touched this little gap. We went briefly below the 21-day. We're still below the 8-day. And you have a gap here that'll bring us almost to the 50-day if it decides it wants to go out and get it. All right. The Qs here have been much weaker. We lost the 8 to 21 and now the 50-day, and we're coming up on the 100-day here, and we're at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So there's definitely some corrective action in technology. The cash index on the SPX, not quite lined up with the SPY yet, but getting close, not even to the 21-day. And then the IWM remains the strongest one out there. IWM not really selling off that much. And of course, now I'm trying to do this. Thinkorswim's having issues again. Still above the 8-day and looking absolutely fabulous here at this point. Hope you guys could all hear me, no problem. So that said, there were things to do today. Energy, thanks to oil. Oil was incredibly strong all day. We got this move all the way up to 52.28, and a lot of the energy names were strong. XLE making another high, almost back all the way to the 200-day here at this point. We did see a good amount of flow into some of those names. We saw names like Encana, ECA, and COP they were buying all day, and Will we saw some flow into, and it's just a lot of small flow, most of it out in time into these names at this point. Hard to chase them as they've moved so much at this point. COP remains very strong here. Look at that move. Really can't go chasing it here. The real story of the day was the weakness, though, in the Qs and in the Facebook names are names we like to play. So let's start off with Facebook. Facebook dove off the start, and we have engulfed this upper range now and almost down to the 100-day, having lost all the moving averages. There was some flow this morning, nothing this afternoon. They were trying to buy the September, the weekly 165 calls. You saw about a block, almost $450,000. Some October 6, 170 calls, and some October 13, 165 calls were swept, about 300,000 of them. It has not moved off of any of that flow today, guys. Hey, Chris, thanks for letting me know. So, it remains weak. Apple, I scalped Apple for about a 20-cent gain up in here this morning on some calls. I didn't go back in. And honestly, to me, it filled this gap, but is showing no strength here today. There was some buying into it here and there. Nothing special, nothing Apple-like, but we did see a weekly 150 call buyer. They swept them for about $220,000 worth of it. And then we also saw a weekly put buyer into the middle of this. So, it's going both ways here on it at this point. So very, very, very hard to want to be involved in Apple here other than to watch it and wait for them to actually really come after it right now. Amazon also saw some call buying today, and it didn't do anything except get weaker after it. I almost got in it. I actually had an order in at one point up in here. I was chasing this candle. Though it wasn't chasing, I was trying to get long in the middle of it. They came after the September, the weekly 940s, a block of 500, and then they swept the weekly 935s. And that's when it started to go. And you can see it's closing at lows. We've lost this whole range. Nothing that looks really good here. By the way, while we're talking, McDonald's is seeing a weekly 155 call sweeper here. McDonald's, big, big weekly 155 call sweeper coming in right here into the lows. So somebody out there is trying to put a low in McDonald's. I'll say that's not going to go any lower today. Put that out there for you guys. So, tough spot here in the markets. Netflix got rocked after looking so good, staying above the 8-day for all that time, engulfed the 8 and the 21-day and right to the 50-day now, right? So you've seen this. Google is closing fairly well here. Google actually looks a little bouncy. I know that's a technical term, but why? Because it broke the ATR stop here and has held it all afternoon now, and is kind of coming up off the lows. I kind of like the look of Google. It looks been stronger of late at this point. What are some other names? I am in BMY. And so why am I in BMY? Because I like the setup. I thought I was going to go this morning. So I bought some November 65 calls. I'm down less than 20 cents. I'm trying to stay with it long versus the 8-day. It continues to show relative strength in a mess today. Can't quite get going again, but not falling apart either. So I'm sticking with it for here. As long as we're doing that, IBB showed relative strength today. Trying to close here, well, not above the 8-day, but holding the 21-day. And that was a lot, and thanks to Celgene. Celgene was really, really strong all day, coming in off the lows. Some other flow today that I still like, and it has my attention, Lulu. They've been buying Lulu for the last week. And today they were doing it a 58 by 59 call spread, 2,000 of those open for the weeklies. And then we saw the weekly 5750 calls swept times almost 850 of those. Yep, we could take a look at HD versus low and stuff. So Lulu's a name I still like here moving forward. HD, wow, nice little move back to the top here. This looks strong, and now you got to see if it can break through. Now does it have the strength to break this little double top right here? So Chris is asking about HD here. It looks nice and strong. This is a good spot. Hard to buy it here. The hurricane news is over at this point. Let's go up a little bit longer. 1 year. So you're into this big toppy area, Chris. So I'd be careful initiating up here. That said, it has a nice look to the chart, and if they come after it, I would definitely put that on my short list. Thank you. Lowe's has been a weaker name. It's had a hard time bouncing, but you have a nice move off this bottom. You got a little cup handle. Now it's trying to come to the top. Another one. Zoom it in. You got resistance right where it's at. So this is an area that you got to be careful. But if it can get through there and get some call buying, yep, Chris, all-time highs in HD. Some call buying on Lowe's is something I would definitely take a look at as we move forward here. Let's talk puts, guys. We saw some big put buying in AMD. October 12th puts, they hit those for quite a bit. And the semis look weak today, all day. I will take a look at them, Chris. All day long, AMD has looked weak. I think they were tied, Chris. They didn't come up clean when I looked at them. I'll take another look at them for you. All right, so this big move has been completely retraced and now back to the 200-day where we can keep an eye on it. RCII has been seeing put buying of late a lot, and they came back after it again today, and they hit the March 10th puts, 440,000 of them. BABA saw a October 145 put buyer, 145 on BABA, just to put that in perspective. All right, it's up at around 160. BABA engulfed this whole range today, right? Top to the bottom of the range in 2 days here. Here's your 50-day, below the 8 and the 21. In the indexes, the Qs got an absolutely monster bet early this morning. We saw November 143 puts, over 10,000 of them, $3 million bet plus into the Qs. Right, the Qs continue to be our weak link, now at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands and on the 100-day. And we saw some small sweeps into the October 140.50 puts as well. SPY put, some February 225 puts, about 250,000, nothing huge. So guys, I guess what I'm saying is, looking around today overall, it's tough to get really bearish or bullish here. We have a slow roll over going on in the markets. This is generally a tough week in the markets, the last week of September before Yom Kippur. You know, I told you last week that the old Wall Street adage is sell Rosh Hashanah, buy Yom Kippur. We do have Trump coming out with his tax plan today, so there are things to be done that could be better. Good for the market. Names that we talked about this morning on the morning call. Costco, it's had a beautiful move today. Look how nice and strong this is closing. Earnings coming, though, but looks good. Target held in all day, right? Not closing on highs, but looks good. Here's your gap to get into that one. Names like BA, Boeing, which I know Chris likes to play, have been strong, right? Still above the 8-day, not giving you, good trace to try to buy it right here on the 8-day. Things that hold the 8-day are strong. CAT today saw some call buying into some January calls, right? We saw January call buying out on CAT. Let me see if I can pull those up for you. They took the January 135 calls. They swept those off the 8-day. Notice this here, right? These things all look pretty good. It's hard to get extremely bearish on this market, guys. That said, it is a time to be careful and be very, very selective in what you do. So I'm going home with a little bit of BMY in my pocket. I have a small position on the mountain to the November 65 calls. And at this point, I probably won't take another trade today. I'll probably let the markets do what they want unless I see something really inviting. But there's pockets of strength out there. Even the fins. We looked at this briefly. Look at this. They hit the 8-day and they reversed. Nice little flag here, just taking time and digesting this move. It's very hard to get very bearish on this. The VIX, which usually would explode on a move like this, it's giving it all back up. The little bit of a pop it had is giving it all right back up again. So that's it, guys. It's been a difficult day, mostly a boring day, if you ask me. Not a lot of things to do in the market today. Not a lot of things I'd want to be swinging here, to be perfectly honest with you. I'd want to go into today very light. The market has not really been able to come off the bottom as much as I would have liked or thought it would have. So we could see a little downside follow through tomorrow. If we continue to hold this spot on the SPY and the Qs start to form up, we could rally and quickly push back to a new all-time high here. I mean, we're not that far off of it. I mean, here's your high, 250.32, and we're at 248.85. So this is not even close to the end of the world. This is nothing at this point. So everybody have a wonderful night. No charts tonight. I have a couple of mentoring sessions to do tonight, so I probably won't be able to get much in the way of charts. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. Have a good one, and I'll see you all in the morning.